aged 18, 16, 11. Policies.
What's good, beautiful people? It's your main man, Big G, coming at you all the way live. I'm in your space, I'm in your face, and I'm definitely blessed to be here on this wonderful day, May 24, 2026. It is 5 o'clock, and we are live here on the Prime Time Network. I'm your host, Big G, and you're tuned into Industry Talk. Welcome. If you have not taken time to subscribe to Boss Talk Podcast 101, Boss Talk Podcast 101 Prime Time, I need you to lock in with us. I need you to do so. As a matter of fact, it's for you. Stop what you're doing right now and go subscribe to Boss Talk Podcast 101 Prime Time on YouTube, all social media platforms. Boss Talk Podcast 101 Prime Time. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to make sure you tap in. Right now, over 72,000 subscribers and well over 11 million views and watch time hours. So make sure that you continue to support, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, and keep tapping in with us because we're going to keep on bringing you this hot content every day and in every way. It's your main man, Big G. And make sure, like I said, stop what you're doing right now and tap in. Like, share, subscribe. Boss Talk Podcast 101 Prime Time. Boss Talk Podcast 101, Boss Talk Podcast 101 Prime Time. Now, the other day, I said, dear North Carolina, welcome to the live. I was going to engage in some conversation as it relates to the Iran-Contra affair. Mena, Arkansas. It's a big story. It's not like it's something that you can just unpack. And there are details that we have to, go over and talk about because we make reference to conspiracy theories and can never really find all of the dots to make the connections. But in this particular situation, in this case, all of the dots have already been lined up. Congressional hearings say such. This isn't stuff that I'm making up. These aren't stories. And so as you begin to get off into the details of these stories, you find out the different players in this big theatrical scene that America portrayed and pushed onto the general public. Drugs have always been around. Cocaine, heroin, marijuana, methamphetamine, barbiturates, uppers, downers. They've been around. This isn't as though this is something that's new. But when we talk about how it was introduced, now you're looking at a whole different ball game, and how it was introduced on a large scale. on a large scale. Sometimes we forget the history and the why. I'm not justifying anything. I'm just giving you the backstory, the content, and the information. And it's going to be over a series of conversations that we have and engage with this topic. But the Iran-Contra affair is a pivotal moment in American history as it relates to the distribution, the mass distribution of illegal narcotics hitting the streets, and a pipeline created for distribution through every city, every state, from Mena, Arkansas, pipeline all the way across to the West Coast and to the East Coast, north, northwest, and down south. And not really having a concern as to the results of what would happen to the people, the guinea pigs, that this product is being pushed upon, exploited, used and abused to collect dollars to funnel to the Contra. The Sandinistas were backed by the Communist Party in Russia. The Contra, anti-Sandinista, were our allies, so to speak. There was an issue that came up in Iran. They could not get the money to support the war in Nicaragua. So they made a deal with the devil. We know a way to raise this money. We have a way to raise this money. So your largest distributor of cocaine in America that sits at the seat of the reigning president at the time, Ronald Reagan. NSA Director John Poindexter, he took a hit, found guilty for his part in the activity. Oliver North, he took a hit. He testified in Congress. Ultimately pled guilty. But in the history books, he goes down as a hero. Of course, they were pardoned. Never saw a day of jail. And congressional oversight, in many folks' opinion, became a joke. Because you have just orchestrated the biggest mass suicide or genocide on the American public, and you're going to turn a blind eye to say that you were doing it in the best interest of the country because we needed to support and defend ourselves against communism encroaching on our shores from the South. Nancy Reagan says that there is a war on drugs. It's killing our kids. There were campaigns that you saw hitting the airwaves, eggs frying in the pan, This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. Scrambled. All the while, her husband, who played as though he had no recollection or idea that these things were happening. But the one thing about congressional hearings, they're going to dig. Does it mean anything? No. Because in this particular instance, in this particular case, much like Fauci in this COVID debacle, no one gets held to the fire. We're still getting results of malicious intent in studies of malicious intent through what happened during the pandemic. When everyone was told to shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. No. Our governor would not do. Come on now, we're trying to save our lives. Yeah, the sky is falling every day of the week. But when you put people in panic mode, when you put pressure on people to make decisions that aren't necessarily in their best interest, and then at the end of the run, you say, oops, well, we might have made a mistake. We shouldn't have done this. We might not have shouldn't have done that. You see, that's why history is so important. When you bring up references that get under people's skin, like the Tuskegee Airmen and that syphilis experiment and injections that the government was giving just to see what it would do to African Americans. Let's try this shit out. I'm not supposed to be using expletives, but when you start to talk about things like this and you trace back the history of how things have come to pass, and you're still dealing with things right now, present day, that people aren't paying attention to because they've forgotten the history lesson. They've forgotten that we've gone down this road before. And so much time has passed that, hey, it's whitewashed. Nobody will think about it. No one will even bring it up. VRA 1965, that was so long ago. No one's even thinking about it. We've assimilated as a people. Things are fine. But minority majority districts, hey, by the letter of the law, it's unconstitutional. So we need to, since we're a unified people, we no longer need those old inundated laws on the books to support the welfare of a people, the benefits of a people, safeguarding the civil rights of a people. No. By gosh, are you kidding me? We're all equal under this huge umbrella of democratic law here in America. This isn't Jim Crow era anymore. We shouldn't be faced with these types of conversations or issues. No, my great grandfather may have been that, but I, white America present day, I'm not that. So I don't even want to mention or talk about that. Let's forget about that. And let's get to moving our country forward. And in order for to move our country forward, and all of us are on an equal footing, an equal playing ground, an equal field of play, we have to clean up these books. The Voters' Rights Act of 1965, hey, that's unconstitutional. You can't do that. You're violating the constitutional rights of white Americans. Yes, those were safeguards to protect minorities in highly concentrated areas of minority influence so that you would be able to gain a position, gain a post, have a seat at the congressional table, the Senate table, the city council table, the governor's table. I'm saying all of this to say that we're losing sight of the importance of our voting power. We're losing sight of the points, in fact, that people present day do, and I will say they do, not necessarily subscribe to what their forefathers, grandfathers, ancestors may have subscribed to, even to the point to whereas their hatred and their vitriol towards Black folks in America, brown-skinned folks in America today may have waned, they may have assimilated, they may have gotten used to the fact of segregation, but we're bolstering and sticking and jabbing something at what they call racism. It's though we want to stir the pot, hit the hornet's nest, get things started, shall we say. And that's on both sides. That's on both sides. That's white and Black. No one is coming with a solution on either side of the table. There is no solution. If you pay attention to all of the talk, there is no solution. We can march. We can sit there and rabble-rouse. We can talk about the issues as much as we want to till we're blue in the face. The thing that is going to make the difference is the vote. It comes down to the vote, accountability of the vote, and making sure the representatives that you have in office or the ones that are running or being elected are in true support of you and your community. That's the only way. That is the only way. And we're so stuck on Black or white representation. No, I want to know if you're here for the will of the people. If you're here with the best interest of the people, and you can sit there and sign this contract with this block of voters that are in support of what it is that we're doing, because we want this contract signed, because we have a laundry list of everything that we need accomplished in our community. I keep saying this over and over and over again. And it was an ingenious idea when Ice Cube presented it. I'm not saying that was the first time, but publicly on that type of a stage, yes, a contract for and with Black America was presented to both sides, Republicans, Democrats. Hey, let's take meetings with both presidential candidates and let's see who's going to support our agenda, because we don't come with a plan. We do not come with an agenda, and we do not come with an express need of what it is that we need to get accomplished in our communities. And so our vote, we may give it, but there's nothing to sit there and say, hey, we have enough leverage to remove you from that seat if, in fact, you do not do what we've signed on the dotted lines and you've agreed to. Your next election cycle, you will not be in office. It's just that simple. So people are vigilant at that point. Hey, man, I got to serve my people. I got to serve my constituents. I hear what you're saying over here, but if I do that, I'm going to lose my base. And my base isn't just in this district. No. My base is everyone that supports me in the surrounding areas. Guess what? They might not necessarily be able to vote for me, but they have influence in my district. See, you're forgetting that part. Oh, maybe I didn't explain that to you. You see? Even if I can't vote for you because I'm in a different district, we've mobilized and strategically planned and have enough leverage to know that we have enough constituents in your district to sway the vote. And we've all subscribed to the same thing. We've crossed party lines. There is no more Republican, Democrat. It is what is going to serve the best interests of the people. And so if I believe that you are going to do this for me, I have to have some kind of trust, faith, and belief in my government system. But when the system does things like Iran-Contra, and I can give you a laundry list of things, because if you really want to get it started, you know, a lot of people were talking about a surveillance state, 9/11, and the Patriot Act, and things really got kicked off around that time. That's not true. You guys are kind of late in the game. TIA, don't take my word for it. I want you to take some time and look it up. TIA, T-I-A. TIA. And there was a build-up to TIA. There was a build-up to the name. There was a build-up to what they were going to call this surveillance apparatus. What do I mean? Gee, what do you mean surveillance apparatus? What are we talking about? Yes, we already know they watch us through satellite imagery or through cameras or flock cameras on the roads. We know that. We know that they have roaming wiretaps. We understand that. That's for the terrorist. We understand, you know. Let me explain to you how advanced this stuff is present day. And you have to go do the research yourself. Go check out TIA. Go check out The Watchers. It's a movie or it's a good read. Or you get the audiobook and you listen to what took place with The Watchers, and it gives you an in-depth storyline of how TIA came to be. Total information awareness. That should ring a bell to you. That should certainly ring a bell. But in the meantime, and in the between time, while I'm sitting here talking about these things, big shout out to my man ECEO and the official Miss Jamaica. Give y'all a little something about what we do about this time at all times.
It's about that time we decided we were going to do something a little bit different today, add some different elements to what we already do. It's going down, man, trying to figure out ways to break the algorithm, man. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to all our channels, all our different platforms. Boss Talk 101, Boss Talk 101 Prime Time. It's crazy. We got to get it done, though. Boss Talk 101, where the boss is talking.
Keep this in mind also, ladies and gentlemen. Keep this in mind. Everyone is chasing how to finagle the system or finagle the algorithm. Keep this in mind. I am the algorithm. Don't let that go over your head. Say it to yourself. When you're out there chasing and you're posting, and you're pushing, and you're killing yourself, no. This thing moves when I make it move, which in turn makes me the algorithm. what I input into the system and the output that is on the other end that goes out to consumers all around the world, that makes me the algorithm. That makes you the algorithm. Don't let these little social media platforms confuse you about what makes it move and shake. Without your IP, without your input, without us doing what we do, these outlets would be through. So, thank you to our sponsors for today. Big shout out to The Butterfly. Today's episode of Industry Talk is proudly sponsored by The Butterfly Collection. That's right, The Butterfly Collection is here. Gentle stories, big lessons, bright imagination. Books are available at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Ingram Spark by author Angel Williams. These books are perfect for pre-K programs, kindergarten classrooms, elementary schools, classroom libraries, bedtime reading, and SEL programs. Be sure to get your copy today. Make sure you get your copy today. And also, when you get time, make sure you follow my good man, Jarrell Braswell, comedian Jarrell Braswell, at www.jdcomedy.com.
Hey, what it do, world? It's your boy, comedian JB, the real J Braswell, comedian J Braswell. Hey, dig this. I got a website, man. Tap in at jdcomedy.com.
Yes, indeed. Make sure you tap in. I have not looked at who's locked in with me today, but you guys know that we are on all social media platforms, streaming live every day at 5. Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and a couple others. So look, the reason why I'm going in today, and the reason I'm talking about some of the stuff I'm talking about today, and total information awareness, and let me give you an idea or background of what total information awareness is. Doesn't make a difference what it is that you have electronically. Email, television, camera, laptop, personal devices, whatever the case may be. The programmers with the NSA and some of these think tanks figured out a way to find a backdoor to all of these systems without the world knowing at one time, right? This is before Snowden. Snowden is small peas when it comes to the entire construct of what he's a small piece of a puzzle that was implemented a very long time ago. John Poindexter even said that, is this legal? What we're doing, being able to see someone writing an email and sending it in real time, every word, every keystroke. We can also turn on their camera on their laptop and watch them without them even knowing that we're watching them. If there's a Wi-Fi signal in an area and there's a camera in the area, we can transmit signal and view what's going on in a room. If in fact there's a television that is digitally connected, not analog, but digitally connected, we can transmit and receive through the television. Don't take my word for it. Go do some research and find out for yourself. I'm just telling you what I've found out, and this isn't anything new to me. But we're talking about the government. We're talking about how drugs hit the streets and how it destroyed an entire generation. The late 70s, early 80s, going into the 90s. They even dubbed it the crack era. And my good friend Fred Ricky Ross is the poster child of the fall guy that took the hit in this situation. Was later released. Gary Webb, Dark Alliance, started doing some research, started to find out about illegal seizures that were taking place because of drug operations that were going on. And you begin to find out where a lot of these drugs were coming from. You find out who Ricky was friends with, Danilo Blandón, who had the direct connection to, of course, Nicaragua and the Contra, and the distribution of cocaine, which flowed into Mena, Arkansas. They did training and had training grounds for the Sandinistas in Mena, Arkansas. Bill Clinton was the was the governor at the time in Mena, Arkansas while this was happening, and turned a blind eye. The state attorney general began to ask questions, and the governor told him to chill the hell out. Go sit down somewhere. Don't worry about what's going on in Mena, Arkansas. You also have to remember that George Bush Sr. was a member of the CIA at the time. Yes, he was in the mix as well. So you see the line of succession when it comes to how these people got their place in the presidency chain. They all played and were a part of the game. So I don't want you to take my word for it. I'm going to play this, and I'm going to play it in its entirety. I'll probably get a copyright strike, but I don't give a damn, right? I don't give a damn because you guys need to hear this and you need to pay attention to it, right? You need to pay attention. Because if you hadn't seen it back then, I want you to go research it and see now, because we always blame black folks for crack cocaine hitting the streets. Really? Now, I know some of my friends that know some people that are tied in with some folks, right? Like Terry Allred, you know what I'm saying? He was doing business with the Chickalinis. He was doing business with the Colombians. He was doing business with some heavy hitters, just like Rick. But you also have to understand those heavy hitters, those people that are across the border that don't have any kind of jurisdiction that can be held against them here in the States. Hell, they don't give a damn if they're doing business with the government on their side. They don't give a damn if they're doing business with the CIA on their side. They're not going to be prosecuted, persecuted, or thrown under the jail when the shit goes south. Just extradited back home. And they're already privy because the government are the ones that are actually propping these people up to do what it is that they're doing. I said that the other day. Do you think and do you really believe that Pablo Escobar was reigning the way that he reigned with impunity without having some type of official ties within the government construct and system? No, man, give me a break. Give me a break. Y'all make sure y'all tap into some of the funniest individuals on the planet present day. some of the funniest people on the planet present day. My good man, Jarrell Braswell, Kia Leone, Triple P, Rich Morgan, just to name a couple. You know, just to have you interested as we're going through the conversation. So you're gonna be like, oh man, you're talking about this government shit. I don't want to talk about no government shit. Okay, we'll throw a little industry up in there. Make sure y'all go follow those comedians. Triple P, Jarrell Braswell, comedian Jarrell Braswell, Rich Morgan, and Kia Leone. Kia Leone. Very funny, very outspoken, social commentary through the roof. Yeah, they put asses in seats, ladies and gentlemen. Book them in your city. They promote, they run it, they run the gauntlet with everything that they do. They put asses in seats. So I'm going to pull up this clip. And I want you guys to watch it with me. To get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. Okay. YouTube. There we go. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
It was one of America's most notorious presidential scandals that most cost Ronald Reagan his presidency. The Iran-Contra affair. In the early 1980s, the U.S. was still in a Cold War with Russia, and anti-communist sentiment was strong. During his presidential campaign, Reagan promised to assist anti-communist insurgencies around the world. For a brief time under Reagan, the CIA trained and assisted groups fighting communist leaders abroad. Reagan was particularly interested in a group called the Contras and their battle in Nicaragua. The Contras were a group battling the Cuban-backed Sandinistas, a communist group who had seized power in 1979. Reagan called the Contras the moral equivalent of our founding fathers.
Okay, so follow the lead-in with that, right? Reagan is saying that the Contras are the moral equivalent to our founding fathers, right? That's posturing. You're trying to paint your picture. You're trying to show individuals that this is the best thing for our people. This is the best thing for our people. And this isn't, this is the History Channel, right? And so every few seconds, I'm going to stop it. You know what I'm saying? I think I might, since I'm using this for educational purposes, I'm making that very clear and very, very well known. I'm using this for educational purposes. I'm not trying to infringe on the rights of the History Channel. And if YouTube would get their act together, they would remember that PBS is free. That's where the History Channel was before it hit YouTube. So I'm trying to show folks something with your content, right? I'm not trying to gain any kind of monetary value out of this. Okay. So I'm going to stop this thing every few seconds so that I can avoid a strike and utilize the information as educational, right? And what I'm also going to do, let me see if I still have it up here. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to put this link into the feed, right? I'm going to put this link into the feed so that you guys can go watch it in its entirety, just like I'm watching it and talking to you about it right now and have an understanding of what it is that we're dealing with, right? So let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. All right. Okay.
But much of the Contra's funding came from the cocaine trade. Because of this, Congress passed the Boland Amendment, specifically aimed at keeping American money from funding the group. That happened in 1982.
Hold on a minute. I don't know if y'all heard that, but much of the funding came from the cocaine trade. Hold on. Wait a minute. We're supposed to be fighting the good fight. Nancy Reagan says there is a war on drugs. But we turn around and our beloved president, one of the highest rating presidents in the history of presidents, will forever go down, in my eyes and in my opinion, as one of the biggest drug dealers America has ever seen. Because he orchestrated and implemented this. I almost use an expletive, ladies and gentlemen. We know what crack cocaine has done to our communities. We know that crack cocaine, pay attention to this, changes the genetic construct of your DNA. We know this, scientifically proven. You look like this today, crackhead tomorrow, and you never bounce back? One of the most addictive narcotics known to man. And marijuana was on the same schedule with crack, cocaine, heroin, and other types of barbiturates. But let's continue. Hold on. Let's continue.
From the cocaine trade. Because of this, Congress passed the Boland Amendment, specifically aimed at keeping American money from funding the group. That happened in 1982, shortly after Reagan took office. The amendment restricted the CIA and Department of Defense from using funds to provide military assistance to groups that were trying to overthrow Nicaragua's government, groups like the Contras.
Okay, so we see it. Here's the recap. And that's right, Mom. And the wife, Nancy Reagan, sat out there and was just say no. You are 100% correct. A bunch of hypocrites. I'm with you on that, Mom. Reagan supports the anti-communist Contras in Nicaragua. The Contras, largely funded by cocaine trade. The Boland Amendment prevents the Department of Defense and the CIA from financially supporting the Contras. Remember that. This isn't something that I've made up. This is something that was enacted. Congressional hearing saying, hey, don't do that. But I digress. Let's continue.
This didn't stop Reagan. The president told his national security advisor, Robert McFarlane, to help the Contras anyway, regardless of the cost. McFarland found opportunity in Iran.
So before we get into the Iran part of this situation, because this is the whitewash, this is the, the pillowcase over the eyes type of a situation. We have terrorists that have taken hostages in Iran, and we're dealing with Iran right now. You see, this thing goes so far back. And it's not that far back, 1982. It goes back to the point to where it's, wait a minute, weren't we in bed doing business, negotiating with quote unquote terrorists to free hostages? Gee, just making up stuff, man. This is AI. This isn't possible. This is not true. Black folks are responsible for drugs in the streets, man. No, not good old Uncle Sam. That is not possible. There is no way. I just showed you that we were doing business with the Contras. Reagan said, I want to assist the Contras and let's do whatever it takes to make it happen. McFarland found out ways to make it happen. Guess what? I can work with anonymity, and guess what? Don't tell me anything. So I don't sit there and have to say that I knew what was going on. I'm the president. I'm authorizing you to do whatever it takes, but keep me at a distance. I do not need this nuclear fallout to hit me. Let's continue.
In 1985, an Iranian-backed terrorist group held 7 American hostages in Lebanon. Reagan insisted his advisors find a way to bring the hostages home, saying, I want you to do whatever you have to do to help these people keep body and soul together. So with permission from Reagan, McFarland made a deal. The U.S. would give Iran weapons, and Iran would broker the release of the hostages.
Wait, whoa. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me put some understanding in it. You mean to tell me the same Iran that is at war with Israel right now, the same Iran that has been bombed damn near into non-existence. That's not necessarily true, but what I'm saying is I'm being very sarcastic here. I'm stating this opinion in point simply because we forget that we were doing business with Iran. Iran, however you want, potato, tomato. Can't we just all get along? We're not even going to get into the Ayatollah who was running things back in the day and how this all came. I am just trying to show you that these things were happening and they were uncovered. And if they would not have been uncovered, they would still be looming in the shadows. Or are they still really there? Is there still a covert government or covert operations that are taking place to fund and fuel different types of proxy wars that the government, our government, can sit there and say, hey, we don't have anything to do with it? And funded by the import and export of nefarious drugs? But at the end of the day, we have Black and brown men and women that are serving damn near life sentences behind the same Anyway, let me keep going.
This happened even though Reagan publicly insisted he would not negotiate with terrorists, and despite the fact that there was a trade embargo with Iran. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. The deal with Iran didn't just secretly secure the release of the hostages in exchange for weapons. There was money involved. While $30 million had been allocated for the weapons, the CIA funneled a portion of that money to the Contras in Nicaragua, the group Reagan supported in their guerrilla fight against the Sandinista government. In 1986, the Lebanese newspaper Al Shura reported the arms deal, and everything began to unravel.
Okay, now they're talking very lightly about this, right? They're reporting on the Iran gun swap, but they're not talking about what was going on with the drug trade. You see, that's a whole different part of this big old conversation. Number one, America was negotiating with terrorists behind closed doors. That happens all the time. I always say, we will not negotiate with terrorists. Well, okay, one thing I can say, you brought home and saved lives. On the other hand, and with the other stroke of that pen, you decimated an entire community because those drugs were being funneled and pipelined into urban networks, and it decimated our culture, and it destroyed our people without you having to pull a gun, without you having to tie a noose around our neck. Was that the full intent? Was that the intent, the true intent? I can't speak to that because I don't know. But I do know that's what happened. And then you begin to crack down on the very same drugs that you're putting out into the street, and folks are confused about, hey man, how do you know? Because they're the ones shipping it. They're the ones that are tracking the inventory, where it goes, how it gets there, who are the players. They're the ones who set the stage to the game, and you don't know the rules. You just started to play the game. But the white guy that was flying the dope into Mena, Arkansas, pat on the back, national hero. Charges? What charges? Y'all know the story I'm talking about. They even made a movie about it. I think what was his name? The Mission Impossible guy. I can't think of his name. Not Brad Pitt. But anyway, y'all know who I'm talking about. The main actor in Mission Impossible. He played the guy in Mena, Arkansas, that was given the green light to do what he was doing by the CIA. The Black Ops operator in the movie who made the connection. They don't tell you that it's that it's Oliver North, but we know that it's Oliver North. We know he's the operator. And think about how they implemented and orchestrated this big old fanciful way of distributing this stuff under the noses of the American public, and turned the story around as though people like Frank Lucas and Bumpy Johnson and, I'm flying to Viet Cong and I'm bringing all this dough back, and lacing the 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 coffins with kilos of heroin. Even still, within that, the government had to be aware. They had players within that whole situation. So don't ever think for a moment that the ebb and flow of this drug trade has ever been in control or being controlled by a minority. I'm not saying that they didn't elevate to high positions in the game or even were in the think tank rooms on how to disseminate this mass chaos and destruction across the land. But if you're looking at this history lesson that we're going through, you look into those congressional halls and those hearings and the presidential cabinets, you don't see any black folks in those rooms. Let me keep on pushing. We're almost done.
That prompted an investigation by the U.S. Attorney General, who discovered that only $12 million of the $30 million actually went toward weapons for Iran. The rest of the money was sent to the Contras in Nicaragua.
Now, Reagan makes secret deal to exchange hostages for weapons. Good thing, bad thing? I don't know. You guys be the judge of that. Good thing, bad thing. You guys be the judge of that. What's going on, Terry?
What's up, my brother?
I'm good, man. We're going over this Iran-Contra situation, man. Turn your camera sideways. Turn it horizontal so that you can fill up the screen for me. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Terry Allred. In the building. And we're going to get to Terry here in just a second. The U.S. government allocates $30 million for weapons. $18 million of the funds are diverted to the Contras in Nicaragua, right? The one thing that they're leaving out in this conversation and in this whole topic is that it wasn't just drugs. I mean, it wasn't just guns for money. It was drugs to support a war, to raise money to support a war that Congress said no to. I'll be right back on that. Hold on just a second, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on just a second. What's going on, Terry?
Ain't nothing. Over at my mother's house.
Okay, hey, Mom, how you doing, Mom?
Mom, Galen said hello. Galen, the show you be watching. She said hello.
Yes, indeed. So, Terry, I mentioned you here just a little bit, right?
Uh-huh.
Because people have a tendency to forget. And we're talking about the Iran-Contra affair. I'm bringing up, Rick's situation and how he was involved in Iran-Contra. He didn't know that he was involved in Iran-Contra until after the fact, of course. And he was a major player in the drug distribution chain of the drugs that Danilo Blandón was bringing into the country for the CIA.
Right.
But my point was, there are not that many people that get that high up on the chain, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the chain when it comes to making a connection with someone from overseas, from Cartagena, Colombia, Juarez, Nicaragua, any of those situations. But I mentioned how you, in your run, back in the day, how you were doing business with individuals that were involved with the cartel. As a matter of fact, we were supposed to be having a conversation with one of the guys. Who was the young fellow that we're trying to line that interview up with?
Francisco Gonzalez.
Francisco Gonzalez. Right. So
yeah.
that was one of your connects back in the day. Is he still currently doing Fed time right now, or Is he
Yeah, he's still doing fair time. He got 30 years. They gave him 30 years.
right?
So he
They gave him 30 years, but they gave you life
yeah, yeah. But he
for
got but I but
for
he
6 ounces of dope.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they gave me but I got you for 6 ounces for the 6 ounces
Yeah.
of dope. But
Yeah.
they gave him 30 years. I think in 2010,
Yeah.
2014, 2010.
Right.
Yeah, and then he didn't even know he was coming to where I was at. You know what I'm saying? So they messed around and transferring him to Big Sandy, and he came to the same unit I was and everything. But I ain't seen him in so long. You know what I'm saying? But we
Uh-huh.
connected right back up when we seen each other.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna go back right quick, and I'm gonna finish up what we're talking about,
Right.
because I need everybody to hear what's going on, and then we're gonna get into a little conversation, Terry.
Okay. Okay.
The revelations were explosive. Reagan denied the allegations that he had negotiated with terrorists. But Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North came forward and acknowledged that he diverted funds to the Contras. North also said Reagan knew about it. North's testimony would inspire the press and Congress to launch investigations against Reagan for the rest of his presidency. Texas Senator John Tower led the investigation into the scandal. The Tower Commission determined it was Reagan's lack of oversight that allowed Iran-Contra to happen.
Now, ain't that something? Lack of oversight. Lack of oversight. I can use plausible deniability as my cover. I had no idea. I gave them clear instructions. They knew because of the Bolden Act not to lay in bed with these hooligans down in Nicaragua. We aren't supposed to be doing business with the Contras, but yet, in fact, Tower says it was just oversight.
Yeah, I think it might be one of
It
them.
was just oversight.
Yeah.
Now, if that's not some BS, and we know that Oliver North took the hit so that Reagan wouldn't take the fall, and that's why he ended up getting pardoned. Like I said, this
Okay.
unravels into a whole hell of a lot more than just oversight. All right, let's finish this up.
But did not implicate Reagan directly. It wasn't until another congressional investigation in 1987 that Reagan finally testified. On May 5th, 1987, joint hearings were televised investigating the covert arms deal with Iran and the assistance to Nicaragua. The hearings would go on for 41 days. Reagan was never charged, but McFarland, Oliver North, 4 CIA officers, 5 government contractors, and Reagan's national security advisor, John Poindexter.
100% sure.
Do you see what's on that screen?
It would be
Are y'all
real
paying
for
attention?
Haley's
Robert
That's
McFarland, Oliver North,
a little bit.
4 CIA officers, and of course, there's a whole lot more people that they're leaving out of this thing because it takes more than this to actually orchestrate logistically all of this stuff that's going on, right? 5 government contractors, you know what I'm saying, that are part of the intelligence community, and John Poindexter, who was the head of the NSA at the time.
I'm glad you're able to go with me today. I really want to see what this attorney gonna say if the appeal is an option.
So, if in fact that's what we're dealing with, if that's what you're seeing, I'm not making this up, ladies and gentlemen. This is stuff that's going on or has gone on, and it's documented. This is not a conspiracy at this point. This is what happened. You want to know how drugs hit the streets in America like wildfire, the way that it did? You have to rest that in the lap of Ronald Reagan and the individuals that were a part of this whole debauchery. It's a travesty, ladies and gentlemen.
Were all found guilty. Yet speculation about Reagan's involvement lingered on. Press investigations would go on for years to follow. While Reagan's image suffered a bit, he still left office with one of the highest approval ratings of any president in U.S. history.
Okay. So that wraps up that part of that conversation, Terry.
First, no smoking, no drinking, no
Yeah.
kids. Great
Well,
job.
I don't know what that is in the background, Terry. I'll be back with you in just a second. So that's what we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're dealing with in terms of that's what took place. I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to go do the research and find out yourself what really was going on, and how, since we always want to put the onus of the drug problem and the drug era on Black people, no, put it where it's supposed to be put. Put it in the laps of the government, because they're the ones who actually implemented this travesty on our people, right?
No.
Terry.
I mean, what if
Terry.
they know something that we don't know?
Can you hear me, Terry?
Sure, biological clock is ticking, and
Good job.
she should be
Oh,
there right now.
Yes, sir.
And I think she's rushing into
Terry, can you hear me?
I don't really know the guy, so I
Yeah, I don't think Terry can hear me, so I'll take him out of there. So yeah. We have so much more to unpack, and so much more to talk about as it relates to the Iran-Contra affair. I want you guys to go do some research, and I want you guys to understand what Rick was dealing with, because the whole buildup of it is what Rick Ross was dealing with, Freddie Ricky Ross was dealing with at the time, unbeknownst to himself. You're actually a part of one of the biggest cover-ups in history, still to present day. And we're not talking about the 9/11 reports or anything like that, and how all of that happened, and why we actually went to war with Iraq as opposed to Saudi Arabia. Hey, that's a whole different story. But let me see if Terry. Back. Terry, you back?
Puppy doesn't want you sleeping in the bed. Neil
Can you hear me,
wants you
Terry?
sleeping out in your own spot. What?
Terry, can you hear me?
We're gonna find a spot just for you.
I don't think you can hear me. So, yeah. Either which way it goes. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, put it in the comments, man. Let's chop it up. Let's think about it. Let's talk about it. And for the next episode, we will jump a little bit more into it. And let's start answering some questions. Let's find some peace of mind about what really took place during the crack era and who was really responsible. And as always, beautiful people, y'all know what me, man. Without question, every day and in every way, it's always about health, wealth, wellness. Stay down. What's good, beautiful people? It's your main man, Big G. And this is my personal invite to all of you to join me on Industry Talk on the Prime Time Network daily at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, where I get into great conversations with entrepreneurs, artists, industry leaders, you name it, we bring it to the table. So make sure you tap in with us, lock us in, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We stream on all major platforms. And be sure to visit us at gemsitpublishing.com. This is Industry Talk. Let's get into it.
Most